Both you and your husband did have the COVID-19. Could you
We did.
tell, do you recall maybe, can you trace it back to how you ended up having it?
I really do feel like, because I was going into these grocery stores, okay, just like everybody else, getting our supplies. I was taking care of my husband. He was sick. We did know with pneumonia, but he wasn't bad enough to go to the hospital. We was treating ourselves with medications just from the pharmacy. But we really, truly, we don't know how we got it. We don't know. All we know is we suddenly become very ill after I went into a grocery store. And then we learned to keep our shoes outside and spray it with Lysol. And then we had to disinfect everything in the house as well, too.
When you were going to the grocery stores, how protective were you of your health? Were you wearing gloves? Were you wearing masks? Because this is...
No, because this was the very beginning stages where we didn't have no mask prepared. We didn't have no gloves because we didn't know this was going to happen. We were in the process of trying to get us some masks. I remember ordering me some masks from and some gloves from Amazon, and they were going to charge me $350 just for shipping. So I had to stop all of that. But that was at the very beginning of the stages that you didn't have to have no mask or no gloves on. And if I knew what I knew today, absolutely, I would have had the mask and the gloves on.
Could you tell us about your experience when you guys had to go to the hospital, how you were received and the treatment that you got?
With the hospitals, they treated me very, very well. I was very thankful for them. I was really surprised at some of the results of how that they would tell us certain things, the doctors especially. I think they were very scared. The doctors, to me, were more scared than the nurses. The nurses was ready to get in there and help us out. And I was they put me in a COVID room all by myself, and we were locked down after that. My husband was the same way too. So you had to mostly tend to yourself and really take care of yourself. They only came in to give you your vitals or whatever. Now, if we paged them, the nurses would come. But I was really surprised that one of the doctors, he came in my room the very first day I got there, and then he sort of snapped at me and he said, "Why didn't you wear your mask?" And I'm like, "Well, sir, the nurse just told me I didn't have to. This was my room." And I could tell he was very scared. He'd never ordered no medication for me for that whole 24 hours. The nurse had to page him late that night just to even give me cough medicine. But that morning, another PA come in and she said, "I'm going to help you, Sarah, and give you the medication that you need."
Now, there's a lot of discussion about that COVID-19. It is a virus, and we have a lot of viruses out there. And that what makes people wondering, what makes this virus so bad? Why is this virus so unique? So could you tell us, I'm sure you have had colds in the past. I'm sure you have had flu. I'm sure you have had a running nose, okay? Could you tell us how having COVID-19 in your body, having that virus in your body, how different it was from having any regular flu?
You could tell a big difference. First of all, it took a hold of your lungs and your respirator and your throat. Every day they was telling us on the news, stay home, drink plenty of hot liquids, and that would help. I found out to me, that was the wrong solution. I'm not no medical science, I'm no medical doctor, but the minute I started asking for ice, the swellings went down. And then my husband felt the same way too, that the ice was the best key of taking all the swelling down quickly. You felt really just tired and fatigued. At first, I didn't know I had it because I was doing so well. I was taking care of my husband. But that's where I had the resistance. But it makes you very tired and very sleepy, like you do have the flu, but in a stronger way about it. But then you notice something different about your throat, and your chest is totally different than pneumonia. And I didn't only have the coronavirus 19, I did have double pneumonia on top of it.
Could you tell us about your state of mind when you were told you contracted this virus? Were you scared?
When the doctor called me, we sort of knew it. My husband and I did, because this was different. We couldn't get better. We just could not seem to get better, and we knew that we sort of felt it. Our children felt it. Our, Patty worked at the hospital in Boston, and she knew that too. And you would call the clinics or the hospital, and they said, stay home, don't come unless you have to. So we were trying to, really figure this out ourselves. When the doctor told me that day, Sarah, you do have the corona, you are tested positive, I just shook my head and said, that don't surprise me, because I really knew. My family knew.
You did mention, you said that you at the hospital, I mean, yes, you did have COVID-19 and so was your husband, but you feel that your husband had it worse. When you were at the hospital, of course, they separated both of you. Family wasn't allowed to come and talk to you, to hold your hand, to be there for you. When you got word that your husband was in real trouble, that he wasn't faring as well as you, were you given the opportunity to go and see him? What was that like, knowing that he's out there by himself?
Well, I'm in the hospital, and when she told me that he's on the next floor up above me, okay, not straight above me, but in a different floor, fourth floor, different room, and I asked the doctor, I said, can I please, you're letting me go home, can I please see my husband? She went to ask, and I thought, there's no reason for them to deny me, because I already had the coronavirus 19. And that was the whole patients that had the coronavirus 19. She come back and told me they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't allow me. And I was real shocked at that, because you were locked in your room. Not locked, but you were put in your room. You couldn't come out. So they just wouldn't let me see. When I got home, that's when I had to phone him more. I could talk to him on the phone, and I could hear he was getting weaker. That's when we started fighting. Not really fighting, but being concerned with the doctors. Can you please tell us everything? I want to know his vitals. I want to know his heart status, his liver. I needed to know everything. And then plus we had a warrior team praying for him, and as well as myself. But I had done come through it. I'm home. Now it's time for me to fight for my husband and make sure that he comes out of this completely. I was really shocked that one of the doctors told me that I needed to stay out of it. I mean, just back off a little bit. But I had that right to call every day to find out if my husband is okay. I needed to know. I had to find out I needed to know, even hearing his voice. I could hear in his voice that he was fading away.
And I'm happy to hear that both of you really came out of it. How is your husband doing? You seem very joyful, and you seem like you are all back. How is he?
He's doing wonderful. He working in the yard a little bit, working in the garage a little bit, and he has his ups and downs, but he's doing really, really good.
Did the hospital, when they were clearing you, both you and your husband, did they tell you anything? Meaning, did they say, okay, now you have maybe the antibodies? Did they say you should stay indoors more, self-quarantine even longer? What were the instructions given to you when getting dismissed?
When we when I first came home, she said, 9 more days, then you're free. You can go. I called my doctor, and I told her that I would like to be tested again, because I wanted to make sure that I was really protected. I'm going to protect my members. I'm going to protect my people. I'm going to protect the people of the church. And they even the health department, I said, I want to be tested. And they said, no, you don't need to. With the type of blood you have, you don't need to. And so they gave me a certificate, a letter stating that I'm completely released and I'm completely healed. The same way. We come back in. He stayed 9 more days. So I stayed 7, 8 more days with him. We're still staying in. We're not. We're still resting in our own homes, and we're only having the live stream on Sunday at our church for people to come sit in their cars if they want to, or just watch us at home. Okay. And that's what's important right now.
Thank you so much. I truly thank you for taking your time, for sharing your story. Quite a
You're
remarkable one. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, you and your husband, but I'm also very happy, and all of us are very glad that you came out of it doing well. Thank you so much for telling your tale.
Thank you for having me, Queen. God bless you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, and same to you.